Yes, you are reading this title correctly. So I was just in Nashville, Tennessee, taking Uber and Lyft, which I typically do all the time when I'm traveling. And it's good. It's nice to be able to talk to other drivers, especially in other places, to figure out like, hey, how easy or hard is it to drive? How much money do you make? And I like to be very respectful of that. But I typically say, hey, I started driving in Boston. I have this YouTube channel. I do a lot of videos about Lyft and Uber. And I'd say more than not, most drivers usually open up and say, hey man, well, if you're curious, here's how much I make. Here's what it's like to drive in this area. And when I was in Nashville, had a driver I was talking to saying, hey, here's how much I made in Boston. How's it driving in Nashville? If you don't mind me asking, is the money good? Is it bad? And the guy's like, I'm not gonna lie, I make really good money. And he went on to say, after that point, he's like, okay, I make really good money. I'll be honest with you, last Friday, I typically drive on a Friday and Saturday from 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. So I do a 12-hour shift. Last Friday, I made $800 in those 12 hours. And I was like, whoa, hold up. You made $800 in 12 hours? That is insane. That is significantly more than I made in Boston. I mean, I might be able to make that, let's say if it was snowing and the T broke down and basically a bunch of things had to happen, kind of like the perfect storm in a sense, would have to happen in order for me to even come close to making that amount. And he said to me, he's like, in Nashville, I think especially because Nashville, in case you didn't know, it's I think it is actually the #1 place for a bachelor and bachelorette parties. So there's constantly tons of people going out, and the search pricing, he told me, is ridiculous. He even said, I'm not gonna lie, he's like, on a other weekend, a slow night for me, like say if I'm doing that 12-hour shift, would be about $450. That would be a very low amount or a slow night for me. And that blew my mind. And that is why I say to every driver out there, the #1 factor that determines how much money you can make as a driver is your location. And there's a bunch of reasons why. For Nashville, it's the fact that there's a bunch of people there. There's a lot of bachelor and bachelorette parties. It's a very kind of open city, and in addition, obviously, people are going there as tourists who want to explore around, so that's a huge factor too, right? Every city, whether it's a combination of like the base fare and fees that Uber and Lyft charge, a combination of the culture, how much tourism do they get, there's so many different factors. And I really wanted to make this video to be like, look, this is why, especially for beginning drivers, always start off part-time and see how much money you can make. I had friends, and I've said this before in other videos, that Ohio, just given the roll of the dice, Ohio isn't the best city, isn't the best state to drive in the country. One of my friends lives in Dayton. He decided to do Uber and Lyft when he was kind of bored one day. He said sometimes it could take him half an hour to get one ride. And yeah, that ride might pay $20, $30, but if you're trying to rely on that money, Dayton, Ohio, not the best. Now maybe Columbus or Cincinnati maybe might be a little bit better, but this is why there's so many different factors, and sometimes it's a complete roll of the dice. But the main reason why I wanted to make this video is to say that remember that every city is truly different, and it's super interesting for me seeing all these comments on this channel because half the comments say, hey Mark, I hate Lyft and Uber, I'm never driving for them again, it's a scam. But then the other half say, hey Mark, I make insane money driving Lyft and Uber. I work pretty good hours and I make really good money driving. Just like my driver in Nashville. I mean, if you think about it, if let's say you're trying to work on other side projects, you have entrepreneurial pursuits or whatever, if you only have to drive 1 day a week, or technically 4 days a month, you make $800 for that, let's say 12-hour shift, you're looking at about $3,200 a month for only 4 days of work in the entire month. I mean, that is crazy. And that's why, again, some people absolutely love driving for Lyft and Uber and other people hate it. It's all about your location.